I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
Welcome to Snake Envy. We're going to do another question of the day. This is a good one. And again, from our two perspectives, I think this is a really good topic. But how do you find balance between your needs and your methods and the needs and the care of your snakes? So what examples can you think of where maybe you're making compromises in one direction or the other? In your case, it's different than mine because you have a financial incentive on top of just a general incentive for your snakes to be the healthiest and the happiest they can be, and that makes them more productive in terms of breeding. So where do you find those lines?
Yeah, that's kind of a big question that's all over the place. My needs, I'm going to start there. And it's like, I need...
And those are important, by the way. I think sometimes people in the hobby make it seem like your needs are irrelevant. It's all about the animal, but there has to be a little bit of a balance.
Yeah. Like, I need my room, my setup to be as functional as possible. I need to
and space efficient.
We're
filming here today because you're overrun.
I'm overrun with babies.
With babies.
Yeah, we'll deal with some car noise. Yeah, it's making it as efficient and quick as possible for me to clean cages is. I've seen people do stuff where they put lids on tubs and stack tubs, and it's just like, to me, that drives me bonkers. All the time wasted.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it right now with some babies, but not on a large scale. But yeah, just pulling lids off, unstacking, all that, and it's kind of a mess, and it's not easy for, say, like a rack. You can pull the drawer halfway out, do your cleaning, feeding, watering, and the snake mostly ain't going to jump out of there. You take a lid off and it's going to jump out of there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so that's a pain in the butt too. So, that's one of my needs. It just needs to be as efficient as possible, as easy as possible.
So speaking of rack systems, that's always a controversial topic. There are some people who say no one should have racks. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous in terms of the breeding world. Let me ask you this question about racks, because there are people out there that I don't consider hobbyists or pet owners. I view them as collectors, and they have no intention of breeding. They have 100 snake collection. The only way they can feasibly do it in their home or wherever they're at is in racks. I don't know that the hobby should be maybe incentivizing or applauding the person who, just in order to have as many snakes as they possibly can without breeding. Breeding's serving a good for the hobby, and that's making captive bred animals available for everybody, so we're not putting stress on wild populations. This collector isn't doing that. I'm not sure racks are a good thing in that case. If you don't have the space and you don't have what it needs in order to provide big, nice enclosures for snakes, you probably shouldn't have that many outside of breeding. That's my view.
I agree with a lot of that. And then in some cases, racks are perfectly great, for even a collector, I think. Like
Neos.
And like, I'm thinking like milk snakes, where they're so secretive. They're, they hide 90% of their lives. They're underground.
Yeah.
They like that dark, concealed area, and so certain animals will do better in racks, is what I'm getting to.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with that. Neos, I think Neos do really well in tubs and racks.
Yeah.
They tend to eat better when they're a little more secure. If you do legally collect animals from the wild caught snakes generally transition into captivity better in a tub or a rack rather than being on display right away. You can ease them into that. What are some other things? So I have mentioned before on this channel that I keep kind of a minimalistic style of keeping, in part for socialization. I think snakes actually do really well on display, and they're more confident and they socialize really well when they're actually exposed to the environment around them rather than being able to hide all the time. That doesn't mean I don't give them hides, and I do have one or two snakes more so than the others, that if we were to walk into my snake room, I have 2 snakes that I would bet would be in a hide. The rest, no, they wouldn't be. They'd be out and about. So I allow for individual preference. I'm not preventing them from hiding. But part of the reason I keep those minimalistic enclosures too is for my time and energy and effort when it comes to keeping enclosures clean and keeping enclosures sanitary. That's much more difficult to do in a very cluttered, naturalistic looking environment. And so over time, I'm kind of back to a more minimalist style of keeping. And I actually think it's a good balance. It works really well for me, but I also think my snakes socialize better in that environment than they would in a naturalistic one where they can hide away, 90% of the time. So that's where I feel like I've made a compromise that in the end benefits both of us. A lot of people don't have a ton of space. They're probably making compromises in terms of the type of enclosures they have. Maybe they would want a particular type of enclosure, but they need something that will stack, something like that. It's okay to make compromises based on your space, based on your budget.
Yeah.
And you can still keep healthy and happy snakes. Can you think of another example of maybe what some people might view as a compromise that it's perfectly okay?
When I think of keepers' needs and animals' needs, and one of the first 2 things I think is water, substrate, and a hide. I guess you can throw that in there. And like Mike says, like keeping a layer of bedding so that it can be a hide per se. They can dig tunnels. I use a lot of cardboard hides, just like cereal boxes and paper towel rolls and stuff like that. And it's man-made, but it's great because the snake doesn't care. It just wants to hide.
Yeah.
They live in human developments and they hide under boards and they don't care. And then the great thing about it is, they soil in it and you just throw it away and put a new one in.
Exactly. And again, that's efficiency. I'm always jealous when I'm over here and you're cleaning and somebody's pooped in their water bowl and you just grab the deli cup and you toss it.
Yeah.
When somebody poops in my water bowl, I've got to go and...
It wasn't always the case, but...
I got to go clean it out and disinfect it and do all that, which is fine. I'm not complaining, but I'm always a little jealous when you're just grabbing it and tossing it.
Yeah, and that wasn't always the case. But that's another thing snake needs. They need water. Water bowls is always a need for the animals, and using disposable water cups is a need for me to keep it easy. I used to wash them, and yes, it saved me money, but it took a lot more time. Yes. And so time is money, and I just a few years ago made the decision my money is better spent elsewhere rather than scrubbing water bowls every week.
And there's nothing cleaner than a brand new one. It's brand new bowl.
And that's a real concern.
Yeah.
Dirty. Like I've been at snake keepers places, and I've seen a friend of mine, I won't even mention, but had a snake pooped in the bowl, water bowl, dumped it, and re-put water in it.
Oh.
I was like, no, no. Never okay. Never okay.
I mean, truthfully, I'm sure the snake would drink out of it and not be overly bothered by it, but just from a sanitary
I love my animals too
standpoint,
much.
no way. In fact, I'm not only going to go clean it, I'm also going to hex it and, sanitize that water bowl before the snake gets it back. But yeah, I mean, you're genius in the way that you're maximizing your time, and you're also providing snakes with a sanitary environment, because once it's dirty, you toss it. Yeah, that's a great example. Please let us know in the comments, what are some of the, tell us a little bit about kind of the balancing act between meeting your needs and meeting the needs of your snakes. No one is suggesting that we should neglect our snakes in any way, but we should also have priorities, and it's okay to try and strike a balance there. So please let us know some of the things you're doing to try and meet that balance. Thank you.
Thank you.